All right, Browns lose by 3. Kind of not what I really expected. Kind of expect Buffalo to, come into Cleveland, win by multiple possessions. That obviously didn't happen. Buffalo kind of had control of the game the entire time. Browns were just able to kind of hang around, and you could definitely tell that obviously Buffalo was the better team today. And the Browns were just able to just kind of hang around with Buffalo because Buffalo is so known, especially this season, for kind of playing with their food a little bit here against lesser quality teams like the Browns. And this is not the Buffalo team from a few years ago that are feuding and going back and forth with the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, this is not, those types of Buffalo teams. They're still good. Don't get me wrong. They have every opportunity in the world to get hot and go into the playoffs with some momentum. And they very well could still win their division, depending on what the Patriots do. But disappointing a little bit here. It was there. We only lose by 3, so it was there. Shadur Sanders did not have a great game today, honestly, especially in the fourth quarter. Really, I definitely think his pinky finger that he did injure in the first half. I definitely think that kind of hindered his ability to throw downfield and more accurately, maybe over the middle, which probably made it look a lot worse than it was. Buffalo still has a decently good defense this year, but especially on the last drive, he takes back-to-back sacks, almost gets a safety. Was called a safety in the commercial break. Was called a safety, then gets called back to being down at the 1 yard line. Didn't matter though. Browns punt the ball away. It was like 3rd and 30 or something ridiculous. Browns punt the ball away. They never see the ball again. Josh Allen makes a really good throw that kind of iced the game, honestly. It didn't get the first down, but it iced the game, basically. Allen was getting sacked. Alex Wright was coming right behind Josh Allen, and he grabbed him, and Allen just kind of flicks the ball. I think it was Kincaid that caught it, and he was able to just kind of fall forward, gives the Bills a 3rd and 1. Browns used their last timeout because they only did have 2 timeouts left. So the Browns use their last timeout there, and then Allen's just able to quarterback sneak it. It's a first down, game over. So I didn't make a halftime video today just because I wanted to see, especially with Judkins, because Judkins, if anyone did not watch the game, Judkins did go down with an injury. He was carted off, likely done for the season. Everyone was kind of expecting the worst, ACL tear, MCL tear, something like that nature. Wasn't a non-contact injury, just the defender comes in, makes a play. Kind of looks like Judkins' knee kind of bends the wrong way. But they're saying now it's more of a bone injury, which, although is not great, and it will still cost Judkins the rest of the season, plus the majority of the offseason, which sucks. That barring another injury next year, Judkins is not going to get a full offseason for the second year in a row. Of course, he had some off the field issues in his rookie season. Comes up a few weeks into the season, comes up and takes the Browns starting running back position and never lets go of it up until now because of an injury. Dylan Sampson was also out today, but Williams did a good job. He did a really good job, and if the Browns, I would not be mad if we cut Jerome Ford and keep him on the roster. Did a really good job today. But anyways, Judkins, he's not going to get a full offseason to, recover and get ready for the season. It really depends on his timetable, honestly. Maybe he's back by training camp. Maybe he's not. I don't know. It sucks again that he's not going to get a full offseason to be able to be back to 100% sort of at the end of the season and kind of recover up and get up there. And it's crazy that barring any injury next year, that it'll be his 3rd NFL season, and that will be his first ever offseason. Barring anything happening to him, that will be his first NFL season where he's going to have a full offseason to prepare for the upcoming NFL year. So it's unfortunate that we lose basically our best player on offense in Quinshon Judkins. For the rest of the year, more than likely, Shadur Sanders did not have a really good game. But the Kansas City Chiefs are losing to not the Browns. The Kansas City Chiefs are losing to the Tennessee Titans right now, which is really good for the Browns. And I'll explain that. So I think Gardner Minshew actually did go out with an injury today for the Kansas City Chiefs, which really sucks. But for the Browns, if the Tennessee Titans do hold on and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, that means if the Browns lose out, and I think the Jets and whoever is ahead of the Browns, there's two teams that play each other. I forget who. I think the Jets are one of them. I'm not sure about the other team. I want to say the Giants, maybe. I don't know. I think it is one of those two. It's either the Jets or Giants, and then some other team. But they do play each other. So that means the Browns, if the Titans lose and the Browns lose, or the Titans win, the Browns lose out, those teams will then play each other, which one of them will, of course, win. That means the Browns will jump them. That means if the Browns lose out, they are guaranteed, at the very least, the second overall pick in the draft, which is huge, especially if the Browns want to attack quarterback in the second overall pick. I think you either get quarterback or you trade back. I don't really see any wide receivers this year. I love Carnell Tate, of course. He's going to be probably the first running or receiver taken off the board this year. I don't know if he's a number one guy that the Browns need. I think the Browns need an Amon-Ra St. Brown type guy, a Jeremiah Smith type guy, a Jackson Smith and Jigba type guy on this wide receiver core. I think Carnell Tate would be a good number 2 or number 3 guy. But maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong. Emeka Egbuka is now the number 1 wide receiver in Tampa Bay, and he was never the number 1 wide receiver at Ohio State. So you never know. Never mind. Emeka Egbuka, he is the future number 1 guy. Of course, Mike Evans is still in Tampa Bay, but he is the future number 1 guy in Tampa Bay. That's what I meant to say. But Carson Schlesinger looked good today. Probably locked up Defensive Rookie of the Year with that sack on Josh Allen today. He was kind of falling off a little bit. I think he regained some of that momentum. Had a pretty good game. Had a few tackles, of course. Myles Garrett did get half a sack, I believe. The commentator said on the broadcast that Myles Garrett did get credited with a half a sack, which means he is now 1 full sack away from breaking the record. He's a half sack away from tying the NFL sack record, which is all really Browns fans really want. That would be really cool if he breaks it, not only if he gets a sack next week, who the Browns play the Steelers next week. TJ Watt is tied for the NFL sack record right now. If the Browns, when the Browns play them next week and Myles Garrett does get a sack, that means that he will be breaking TJ Watt's record for sacks in a single season, which, if you know the Browns and Steelers rivalry, Myles Garrett and TJ Watt have been going back and forth on who is better. TJ Watt had that peak, but Myles Garrett also had that peak, but he is still going up. TJ Watt is now on the decline. He has not had a great year statistically. So that will this game. I'll talk about this because we're now talking about Browns futures and stuff. But for this game, the run defense was putrid, especially in the first half. James Cook had 9 rushes. All were the same play. Every time it worked. It was a motion and a trap. Run right up the middle. Every time. For the entire first quarter, James Cook scored 2 touchdowns on that play, had multiple chunk plays on that exact same play. And what do the Bills do? Like good teams, when they have a play that's working, they run the same type of thing over and over until you stop it. And when you do kind of stop it, they run it again, and they throw play action out of it. And that's what the Bills did, and they had a great amount of success with that play, which is really, really annoying. They're running right at Shelby Harris, though. Shelby Harris has got to get better at run defense. He is overcommitting and getting he's getting out of his gap. And there was a few linebackers that were also making a few mistakes there. But they're running right at Shelby Harris. Wherever Shelby Harris was lined up, James Cook was running right at him, and he was just blowing right by him. So it's unfortunate. We got to get better at that. I think Dalvin Tomlinson being out for the rest of the year, of course, hurts. I said Dalvin Tomlinson. I really meant Malik Collins. I don't know why I said Dalvin Tomlinson. I really meant Malik Collins. With Malik Collins out for the rest of the year, that hurts the Browns' run defense, especially up the middle. With Mike Hall having injury problems this year, he's being out and in and out and in and out of the lineup all year. If he's not back in the lineup, that really hurts the Browns' run defense. But Mason Graham, he did take that one sack away from Myles Garrett with Josh Allen, which might have, by rule, it is not a safety. We can discuss if that rule needs to be changed or not. But it was a good heads-up play by Josh Allen to get the ball out of the end zone as he was laying on the ground, and make sure that was not a safety. Good play by Josh Allen. We can discuss all day if that rule needs to be changed or not. But not a whole lot in this game to really talk about. Shedeur Sanders, his pocket habits are really, really starting to bug me. He's been throwing down a lot of checkdowns, and maybe that was due to his pinky. I don't know. I'm not a quarterback in the NFL, so maybe that had something to do with his injury. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. But the Bills knew it, that all Shedeur wanted to do was check down to Quinshon Judkins, and when they made the play on it, Quinshon broke his leg or his ankle or tore his ACL, did something to his lower extremity, okay? And so it sucks that Quinshon is out for the rest of the year, but it sucks. I'm still, if the Browns do lose out and do get the number 2 overall pick and Dante Moore comes out, I really do think that the Browns should draft either a Dante Moore or a Fernando Mendoza. I love Shedeur Sanders. I think he's more of a Jameis Winston than, a Jaden Daniels. I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It is what it is. I love Shedeur and his attitude and his personality, but I just don't think that he is the right guy to lead this franchise into the next 10 to 15 years of Browns football. I don't. And I know that, the games that Shedeur has, the offenses look so much better. We're still losing games. So it's unfortunate. It really is. But instead of me being a little depressed for this video, let's talk about college football a little bit. What happened? Michigan's offensive coordinator is now going to be the offensive coordinator at Missouri. So the continuous crumbling of Michigan and their program is starting to fall and snowball. Arizona State's head coach did sign an extension a few days ago, so he is now off the table for Michigan. Kalen DeBoer beat Oklahoma on Friday, so right now he's looking less and less likely the more and more Alabama goes into the playoff. Maybe they do beat Indiana in the Rose Bowl on New Year's. Maybe they don't. Who knows? But the more and more that Alabama goes into the playoffs, the less and less likely it is that DeBoer will take the head coaching job at Michigan, and it was already unlikely anyways. But that's really what we're at here with Michigan and their head coaching search. All the guys that Michigan has been targeting. Again, it's the Penn State thing. Everyone that Penn State was targeting got extensions and used that Penn State job to get extensions and get more money out of their extensions. And Michigan is that team now. So it's funny for me to watch, but it sucks for all those Michigan fans. And, that's unfortunate. But the Group of Five controversy right now, my stance on this still has not changed. I think the Group of Five needs their own playoff. I don't think the Group of Five should be in the Power Four playoff. I still think Notre Dame should join a conference. I think that you have to be in a conference to be eligible for the college football playoff. If Notre Dame doesn't like that, tough. You can go join the Group of Five playoff and win all those national championships. Don't care. But A&M, they go down at home. Oklahoma, they go down at home. Oregon dominates James Madison. And Ole Miss dominates Tulane. It does suck, but hey, what are you going to do when the rich are getting richer? And, all these Power Four programs are now picking up the Group of Five head coaches that are succeeding. The Tulane head coach, I think, is going to Florida. James Madison's head coach, I think, is going somewhere. I don't know where, though. But, like, all these guys are just getting picked up by the Power 4 programs, and what are you going to do about it? And I get it that you want to include the group of 5 teams in the playoff so you don't get sued. This is all what it's about. The Power 4 isn't just granting these group of 5 teams in there because they deserve it. No, they don't want to get sued. So that's the whole thing. You got to include the group of 5, because if you don't, they're not getting a fair shot. That's the whole thing about it. So, hey, that's my thing. I don't really think we need to expand it that much. Maybe go to 16. I wasn't a big fan of 12 when they expanded to 12. I thought 8 would have been a really good number, but they didn't do that. They went to 12, and, I thought the conference championship buys were a really good idea in theory, but since the group of 5, group of 6, whatever you want to call it, was in the playoff and Boise State ended up getting a bye, that hurt that system. So they made it the 4 best teams now get buys, which then made the conference championships mean less. I definitely think that if the Power 4 creates their own playoff, it should be Big 10, SEC, ACC, Big 12 getting buys. Is that fair to everybody else? No, but that it is what it is. You got to make the play on the field matter, and everyone should be, the tiebreakers should be the same for every conference, and the number of conference games should be the same for every conference. There needs to be almost a commissioner to regulate these types of things, and not have the athletic directors who are taking care of every sport in the university oversee stuff like scheduling and these type of things. There needs to be a commissioner for college football. But that's all not going to happen overnight. It's going to come, in waves, and, we'll probably expand up to 25, which I think is really, really stupid. I think if we expand to 25, that's horrible and really dumb. It just makes the March Madness. And that's another thing. People are, well, you don't like Cinderella stories. This isn't college basketball. This is college football. Like, I get it. And even college basketball now, the Cinderellas are starting to die out because of NIL. All these guys that power, like the group of 5 in the smaller schools of basketball, are building up and keeping players around because, let's say that their family is close by, so that's why they go to the smaller college instead of like the bigger college. Well, now colleges are now paying these players to now transfer over in the transfer portal and all these things, which are just making, again, the rich get richer. So, it sucks. But right now, college basketball is probably going to lose a lot of those Cinderella stories that might happen. Loyola Chicago is not what they used to be. And I don't think Loyola will ever be repeated, really ever again, especially with the NIL era, with the Cinderella story that they won. And I think they went up to the Final Four one year. And that's when they really got like the famous Cinderella story, so, or at least in modern Cinderella story, meaning like the past 15 years. But that is really going to be my spiel for today. Maybe I make a video this week. Maybe I don't. We'll see. Previewing Ohio State and Miami. I did a little bit of that on Saturday, but it is what it is. Maybe I get somebody. We'll see. It is, but that will be it for today. Browns, of course, lose to the Buffalo Bills at home. I don't really see a scenario where the Browns probably win another game. Maybe it's against Pittsburgh next week, but if it's not Pittsburgh next week, maybe it's Cincinnati. But Cincinnati looked really, really good against Miami. And with Joe Burrow back, that's a whole another team. So we'll see, but it is what it is. Go Browns.